Hi guys, it's Angela. I'm going to do a video today of Parker on the Porch's blank bag, and I'm going to add a name. And we are going to do the lined version with woven fabric. And this is probably the most common bag used, and it's probably the design that's made the most. A lot of people are using vinyl, but I'm going to show you how to do the woven bag. And let's get started. Here's Embrilliance. You're seeing Embrilliance here. I'm going to go ahead and add a name here. And you might be using other software. I'm sorry if you are. This is the one that I know how to use, which is Embrilliance. So I have the Parker on the Porch 5x7 lined bag, so enclosed seamed bag open. And then I'm going to go ahead and go up to this A right here. It's going to bring in some letters, A, B, C. You come over here and it says letters right there. So I'm going to click on the letters. This is where you get to type in what you want it to say. And I'm going to just start early for some Christmas gifts. I'm going to do my little girl's teacher. I'm going to make her a bag. So I'm going to do Miss Erin E. Okay, and then once you have what you want typed in, I think I want to put a period here. Okay, then you go ahead and hit set right here, and it changes it right there. Now, then the next thing you get to choose is your font. Right below it is a font, so I'm going to click on there. And if you bought Embrilliance, it's going to have whatever the standard fonts are in here. I have a bunch more, so yours won't look exactly like this. I've paid for several, so yours will look a little different. Everyone kind of tends to ask me what font I use when I use it. I'm using this one right here, this 1 inch. And I'll bring it back up so you can see it again. Right there. And when you're buying fonts, if you're new to using software, if you are buying fonts, I would make sure that it has a BX extension, because if it has a BX extension, you can bring it into Embrilliance exactly like this one is in here, and you can just type and it brings it in here. If you have a font that is not a BX font and say you use PES file format, you have to bring in each letter. You would have to bring in that M, and you'd have to bring in that S. You'd have to bring in each letter separately, and then you'd have to move them around to get them to look right. But if you buy a BX ending file format and you're using Embrilliance, all you have to do is double click on that BX format and it automatically loads into your software. And then when you go to font, it will be in here. So I highly suggest, if you're using this software, to make sure your fonts have BX formats, because it's so much easier just typing it in versus bringing each letter in. Okay, so now that we have this in, this is what I want. The bag is sideways in here, you can see. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this sideways. So I'm going to go up here, and you have this 90 degrees turner. The other thing that I like to do, if I wanted this to be a little bigger, I could come over here, and I have a bigger one. Let's see what 2 inch looks like. Okay, that's way too big. I'm going to actually just keep it 1 inch. Now, the other thing that's kind of nice, if you are using Embrilliance software, it changes the stitch count. I wouldn't suggest like extremely changing the size of something, but I can make this a little bigger if I want. I can go over here to the square and I can just pull it a little bigger, and it will make it a little bigger. And it will change, Embrilliance will change the stitch count, so we'll put more fill in there so it still looks right. And you can also reduce it. Sometimes if you got a really dense font or something and you reduce it too much, I don't suggest reducing or messing with your files really at all, but if it doesn't fit and you want to and you're just going to do it a little bit, it usually works fine. But if you reduce it way too small, then a lot of times it won't turn out. It will just put too many like stitch holes in one spot, and you'll end up getting tears and stuff. But I just increased that a little bit. Sorry, my computer is notifying me. And the way I make this completely center, I go ahead over here and I toggle this, and it's going to move it completely center from top to bottom and right to left. Now we have to be below these zipper lines here, but it lets me know where I'm center, and then I just kind of pull it down to where I want it to be, trying to keep it where it was, right to left. So that's how I center it. So I'm all set here. So I'm going to save this. I'm going to get it on my thumb drive and get it over to my machine, and then I will show you how to stitch out this bag. I will see you over there. Guys, I'm over at my machine. I have my 5x7 hoop. I have tearaway hooped onto my hoop, and then I have the design loaded that we just made. And I'm going to go ahead and stitch step one. Step one is your placement stitch for your bag and your zipper. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and you stitch that directly onto your stabilizer. So I will show you what that looks like when I get back. Hey guys, this is what it looks like. The placement stitch is down, and what this shows you is your placement for your bottom top fabric and your top fabric. But also it shows you how to place your zipper. You want the teeth of your zipper to go along this middle line, and these outside lines are just a guide. So you need to get your zipper. Now you can do your zipper either direction. If you do it this direction, know that this is the front of the bag. The design will be right here. You will be pulling from this side to this side when you open your bag. If you wanted to pull from the other side, go ahead and place your zipper this direction. You do have that choice. So you're going to want to place your zipper. Make sure that the zipper pull is outside of the lines right now. And you're going to place it pretty much like that, and then you're going to want to tape here and tape there, or hold it. Either way, you're going to want to do one or the other. The next step, step two, is going to go ahead and stitch these two little lines on either side of your zipper, and that's going to tack it down to your stabilizer. So go ahead and run that next step, and I will come back and show you what mine looks like. Okay, this is what your zipper looks like. It's tacked down to your stabilizer. You can see there's lines on either side of your zipper. Now we need to measure for fabric. And I do this all at the exact same time. There's quite a bit of fabric you need for a woven lined bag. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how I do that. First off, you need a ruler, and you go ahead and measure from this stitch line all the way over to this stitch line. So if you're going to go ahead and do that, I measure. Stitch line to stitch line is 7 inches this way, so I went ahead and wrote 7 inches right there. Now you're also going to measure from the zipper. So I'm going to put this on the bottom zipper tooth and then measure all the way down. Right, it's a little less than 4 inches. 4 inches is right here. But you're going to want to double this measurement because we're going to fold the fabric in half and put interfacing in between. And because you need a clean edge right here. Fabric, this woven fabric phrase, you can see the edge phrase. So you need it folded over like this, so it won't fray and you'll have a clean edge. Now you don't have to completely double the fabric like I do, but I'm going to show you how I do it. So I double the fabric. It gives it a little more stability and thickness to it, and I also add the interfacing because that gives it stability. So you're going to want to measure from here to here and here to here, and then double this measurement, and then you're going to want to measure from here to here and here to here and double this measurement right here, and then you're going to measure the whole entire size of the bag from here to here and here to here. You don't have to double that one. That's going to be the back of your bag, but you're going to want to do that for the liner and the front of your bag. So you're gonna need 6 pieces of fabric, and then you're gonna need 3 pieces of interfacing for this project. So I went ahead and already measured the lining. This is gonna be my outside fabric. I'm gonna move this aside and show you something I do. This 5x7 woven lined bag is the bag that I happen to make the most. I always make this for gifts, and I put people's names on them, and then if, like for teachers, I usually buy them a gift card of some sort, and I put it inside the bag. So I make this so often that I made like paper templates for it. So it's really fast for me to cut these because you have to cut 6 pieces of fabric and 3 pieces of liner for this bag. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what I did. This is, so the first thing you're going to do is, I'm going to show you this bottom portion right here. This is going to be the first thing we stitch, and I made this template right here. I make mine a little bigger. You're more than happy to copy my measurements. This is what I cut, and then I did the dotted line in the middle, and that's so I can measure the interfacing right here is going to be that size. So this is what we're going to cut first. I'm going to go ahead and put it down on my fabric. And I'm going to go ahead and cut. Oops. And I'm not cutting that clean. It don't really matter. Now I have this moved over. Oops, you can't see it all the way. I have it moved over a little bit because this is a rough edge of my fabric. So I'm going to go, I don't need to cut it off because you don't have to, but I'm going to go ahead and cut it just so I do less. Okay, so we have that. I already cut this front one, the top front. Now I need to cut, so I have those two cut for the front. Now I need to take this and cut as well. And you'll notice on here, I put which way the design should run, just so you don't cut it this way if you really want your fabric running this way if you have a directional print. So that's something important to add on your template if you're doing a template. So I'm just gonna cut this. Alright, so I have the front of my 3 pieces of fabric already cut, and then before I started the video I already cut the liner, so I just used the same template and cut my 3 pieces. Now I need to cut my inner facing, but I wanted to go ahead and show you the measurements, so I'll put this up here really close so you can see. That's that one. Here's this one. And then this is the template for this one. And now this is for the lined fabric bag as a 5x7 for Parker on the Porches design. If you're making anything else, then these templates aren't going to work, but this is the one I cut the most. So now we're going to do our interfacing, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. It's basically just lightweight, fusible interfacing. You can see the brand there. So when I cut this, I'm going to bring this out. Now, I don't double this, I just cut half of it. That's why I have a dotted line here. So I'm going to go ahead and just put the dotted line. I'm actually going to cut it like this. I'm going to line it up there. You don't have to be super accurate with this interfacing. It just goes in the middle and any excess is going to get cut off. So I'm just going to cut this all the way up to the top. And then you can see that it's already cut kind of messy from a prior project, but I'm going to cut to there. Just going to cut this off right here. Okay, so there's that piece that we need, and then we need this little piece right here. So I'm just going to cut that off of the template. Okay, I have those two. And then you need the full piece of this one because this is going to be the full back of your bag. So we're going to cut the full piece. You're not going to just do half because this does not fold. Okay, now that's how quick it is with the templates. If you're only making it once, then I would just take the measurements and cut them once. But you have 3 pieces of interfacing, you have 3 pieces of liner, and you have 3 pieces for the outside of your bag. This is what you're going to need to make your bag. So I'm going to go ahead and bring the hoop back to the machine, and we are going to get started stitching this. Actually, we need to iron the fabric, so I'm going to bring you over the iron. Okay, I am at my iron, and we are going to go ahead and iron our front. First, I just iron it and get it clean. Sorry, my iron. You can put starch on this if you like. I'm just going to go ahead and iron it. Okay, this is the back of your bag, so you just need to iron that flat. I'm going to iron this one. Get it all flat, and then I'm going to fold this in half because this is the top portion of your bag. I'm going to get a crease line. Okay, and then I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to take, sorry, I'm having beeps going on. I'm going to take my interfacing. There's a soft side and then there's a little rough side. You want to do the rough side down. That's the little glue dots. And I'm going to just put that in the crease, and I'm going to iron it down. I'm kind of just avoiding this excess. That's going to get cut off in the bag, but I also don't want to iron it to my ironing table. So now I'm going to fold it back over and get a good crease line again. Sorry, I keep wrinkling it. Okay, you get a good crease line. Then I'm going to set that over there. I'm going to get the next one. I'm just going to iron it nice. I have some folds in here from it being folded in my cabinet. And I want to make sure I'm going the right way. Yeah, it's going this way. Okay, fold it here. Make sure you're folding your fabric the right direction. I'm going to fold it over like this. I'm going to put my other interfacing in, rough side down. I'm going to iron this. Okay, and then you're going to fold it back over and get your good crease line again. Okay, so we have two. Now you're going to take this as the back. You're going to take your interfacing and put it all rough side down all the way on the back. And you're going to iron that down. Okay, now you have the outside of your bag all ready to go. This is what you have interfacing in. Now you're going to take your liner and you're going to do the exact same thing, but you're not going to put interfacing in it. I only put it on the outside of my bag. I don't put it in the liner. So it ends up becoming too thick and you don't want that. So this is one that's going to be folded, so you need to fold it over because you need a clean edge for your liner as well. Okay, so you have that. Here's your other piece. You can just fold it over if it doesn't have a lot of wrinkles. Okay, so you have that done. And then this is your side that you don't fold. Okay, now you have all of your fabric prepped. We have all of our liner, we have all of the outside of our bag, and we are ready to go put this all on the machine. So I will see you over at the machine. Okay, we are back at the machine, and our next step is going to be to put our front bottom fabric onto our stabilizer, and it's going to stitch it to this zipper. I always put it as close as I can to the zipper, because if you can see where that stitch line is right there, that's where it's going to stitch again. So if you don't put it really close, it might not catch the top part of your fabric, and then you'd have to pull it out. So I'm going to go ahead and place it close up next, right under the zipper. So just place it right underneath and make sure all your placement lines are covered, which mine are. And this is the clean edge that we made. This is the top folded part. See, that's the top folded part. Okay, all along the zipper. And then go ahead and put it on. And go ahead and stitch step 3, and it's going to make that rectangle around the bottom front and tacking that fabric down. So I'll come back and show you what that looks like. Okay, this is what your bag should look like so far. You can see that it tacked this fabric down. So, and you have this nice clean edge right here. Right there, it's clean edge. Now you're going to take your top front fabric and you're going to put this down. I think you're going to go this way and place it right next to your zipper. And then I pulled it out so you guys could see, and I'm going to put it back on my hoop, and I'm going to go ahead and stitch step 4, which is going to tack down that top fabric to your zipper and your stabilizer. So I'll come back and show you what that looks like. Okay, here it is. You have your top front, you have your bottom front all tacked on. And now, if you are not doing an extra design on here, if you're just doing a plain zipper bag with no added font or name or design that you added, at this point you would be doing step 5. It looks like this. It's pretty much identical to the first bottom one, and you would be putting your liner right here, lining it up on your zipper line. But we are going to do a design on here, so anytime you're going to do a design, you're going to want to do it right now, because you wouldn't want to put your liner on. The whole purpose of your liner is to cover up the stitches. So if you're doing a design, you need to find your design next. So remember, we're going to want to come back to step 5. But right now, we're going to go find our name that we added. So to get control of my steps, I'm going to go ahead and press this needle with the plus and minus. Your machine should have that. And then you can see it opens up this menu. You can, these with the minuses in the number and these with the pluses in the number, let you jump stitches within a step. So if you wanted to go forward 10 stitches, you could. And you can see where my little green crosshairs is. That shows you where the machine's going to stitch next. Where this is really handy and helpful is if my thread breaks on my machine, I don't just re-thread my machine and then hit start, because you've missed. On my machine, it actually ends up being 22 stitches. So I back up 22 stitches. I just have it memorized because I break thread. So you're going to always want to back up. So I would be pressing this -10 twice and then the 1 a couple times. But we're not doing stitches right now. We're going to jump entire steps. So the steps are these spools. So you can see we're on step 5 right now. I'm going to go ahead and jump ahead. So that's step 6, and this is your liners. That's step 7, that's the front of your bag, that's on the back. And that's your last liner, that's on the inside. And there's our name. It always puts the name as the last item when we're adding it on our machine. We could use, in our machine, we could go put it step 4, or well, it'll be step 5. So the machine automatically knows it's there, but it's just easier for me to jump forward and backwards when I'm on the machine. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch this right onto my front fabric, and then I will come back and show you what that looks like. Okay guys, this is what it looks like. We went ahead and got my details on. So do all of your details. If you have any other different stuff you're putting on the front of your bag, go ahead and finish all of those steps, whatever they are. I'm done because I'm just doing the name. But if I was adding any more design elements to the front, I would keep doing those until I'm done. But now that I'm done, I'm going to flip my bag over, and now we're going to do the liner. So you can see there's several lines here. I'm going to get a pen really fast just to help you out. Okay. A lot of times what I do when I'm actually doing the first step where it does the zipper guidance, which is this one, and this one, I mark the middle one where the teeth go on the underneath, just so when you have this many here, you know which one it is. Or the other way to remember it is always the center one. So there's this line, this line, this line, this one, and this one. You always want to line up to the center one. So right here, this is where you're going to line up your liner. You want to line it up to there. Okay, so we are going to, the next step is going to do this bottom part of the liner. So you're going to take your liner. We already prepped the fabric. You want the folded side in. So you want to line that up to this zipper teeth line right here that I just marked. So you're going to get it right there. Pull this down. There, you're just going to get it right underneath. See how I'm like right underneath? I get it as close as I can without going over it. Okay, and then I'm going to tape here and here and maybe here, and then I'm going to flip it over and put it back on my machine, and then I'm going to go ahead and stitch the next step. But we got to get back to there, so I'm going to move this real quick because it thinks the design's over because we just stitched that last step. So you're going to go ahead and hit OK. And then it's going to bring you back to the beginning. You can see it's on the first step. So you still have control of your machine. So let's skip steps. So that's going to be your placement line. That's going to tack your zipper down, which we already did. That does the front bottom of your bag. That does the front top of your bag. And this is where we skipped. This is step 5. Remember I said you wanted to get back to step 5? This is your liner step. So go ahead and get back to step 5. Tape your liner fabric on the back of your hoop up to that line, and then put it back on and stitch step 5, and I'll come back and show you what that looks like. Okay, went ahead and stitched step 5. I'm going to take it off of my hoop. This is what it looks like. It went ahead and stitched it all around and down, and you can see you have a nice clean edge right here up against the zipper line. So now the next step, you can see step 6 is going to do the top portion. So I'm going to come over here, I'm going to take that fabric, and I'm going to place it on the opposite side of that line. Make sure I'm not going over. Okay, so it's just right there. You can kind of still see it. And then I'm going to tape here, here, and here, and I'm going to go ahead and stitch step 6. I'll come back and show you what that looks like. Okay, this is what our bag looks like right now. We have our front down, and now we have our back liners. So you got this liner and that liner. You can see that they're separated, so when we flip the bag, we'll be flipping through the zipper right here. But now you have your inside liner. Okay, now your next step is going to be step 7, and you're going to put the back of your bag on. So whenever you're going to put the back of the bag on, that means you're going to be putting it over the zipper in the front, and that means you have to open this zipper. So we're going to go ahead and open this zipper. We're going to open it as far as we can without going over these stitch lines right here. Let me get it really close. There's stitch lines right here. The machine is going to be stitching over all these lines to get the back of your bag onto the front of your bag. So you need to make sure that the zipper does not cross those lines, because you want it on the inside of your bag, and you want to make sure that it's far enough over this way. You want it open as much as it can, but you want it far enough over here that it doesn't catch the foot of your machine, and then it's not past these stitch lines. Other than that, you want it open as far as you can. You don't just want to open it here, because it's going to be really hard to turn your bag through that one little spot right here. This is where you're going to turn it. So you're going to want to make it as big as you can without going over and without letting your foot hit it. Okay? So now that our zipper is open, now this is also where you add anything that you want to put on this bag, like hanging off of the bag. If you want to do like straps or anything like that, you add that now. So I'm going to go ahead and add this piece of fold over elastic. Fold over elastic is just stretchy, pretty elastic. This is a solid. There's lots of other ones that have designs. And I'm going to add it to this lobster. This is called a D lobster clasp or whatever. Mine's a little different. Mine's a push one, so you just push this and it can clip onto bags, or can clip onto purses, and it can clip onto backpacks and stuff. A lot of the other ones have like a little metal piece here that you push that makes it open, but this is which one I have. So I'm going to go ahead and place this through here. Okay, and I'm going to place this onto my bag, and now you can place it wherever you want. The next thing's going to stitch all the way around this guideline right here. So you could place this on the top if you wanted. You could place it on the side. You could place it on the bottom. Wherever you place it, it's going to catch and get sewn in between the front and the back of your bag. So, but you want to make sure whatever you want to keep is on the inside, because we are going to cut this excess off on the outside. So this clasp needs to be placed on the inside, and I'm going to place it right here at the zipper, just because I usually like to place mine there. And I'm just going to place it on the inside. I'm going to take some Scotch tape, and I am just going to tape on the outside just to keep it there, so you can see where it's going to, oops, it's all falling. Yep, it's going to stitch right along this line right here, along the stitch line, and keeping it on the inside of the bag. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And now we're going to take the back of our bag, and we're going to put right sides together with the front of your bag. So here's the back of my bag. Remember, we prepped it with the interfacing, and this is what it looks like. So I'm going to place it, and I'm going to try to get, my fabric's directional. Watch your directions, and I'm going to try to get it where mine are kind of lined up like this. Not like exactly, but at least they're in the same row. Okay, so just go like that. It's probably not going to be exact, but you want to make sure it's completely over your stitch lines too. Okay. I was taking an extra minute to line mine up because my fabric is really directional. I don't want it to look all weird. Okay. So right sides together, you can say I have right sides together, your zipper's open, and I have anything attached to my bag that I want to be sewn in. Okay, so we are all ready to go do the next stitch, which is going to be step 7, and it's just basically going to stitch the front and the back of your bag together. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I will come back and show you what it looks like. Okay guys, we are on our last step of stitching. So this is what it looks like when it stitches the back of the bag to the front of the bag. Now we're going to do our last piece of lining, so you need to flip your bag over. Remember, this is our inside lining, but we need to do the other side of the lining. So I'm going to go ahead and place right sides together on the underneath side of your hoop. And watch your directions and stuff, but right sides together. You're going to want to make sure that it completely goes over all of these stitches. It's important on the liner to make sure you have excess fabric down here, because we're going to flip through here and we're going to glue this area. So you want to have a little bit of extra fabric down there. So don't make this too short. It doesn't have to be extremely long, but make sure you have some. So I have my fabric together. I'm going to go ahead and tape it all around so it kind of stays as it stitches. Okay. This I'm just going to stitch to my edge of my hoop. Okay, so we have that all taped down. Now we're going to go back to our machine and we're going to go ahead and stitch step 8, which is our last step. And then I'll come back and show you what that looks like. Okay guys, we are done stitching, and this is what it should look like. This is the front of your hoop. And this is what the back of your hoop should look like. It went ahead and stitched around and left an opening right here. Okay, so we are going to take this off of our hoop. This tape. I'm going to take all the stabilizer off, so I'm going to pull and just pull this tearaway off and get all of the tape off. You can see how all the edges fray on woven. That's why we have to make that clean edge. Okay, I'm going to throw this away. I'm going to take some heavy duty scissors. And I'm going to start by cutting where the hole is down here. I like to leave angled and some extra fabric here, because when we flip we're going to be gluing or closing off this hole. And it looks a little nicer and is a little easier if you leave some fabric down here. So I cut at an angle to where the stitches start right there. And then I just cut all around my bag. And I corner, when you get to the corners, I corner them diagonally. It just helps turn the corners a little bit better. So you cut right over the zipper. You need some bulky scissors because you're cutting over the zipper and stuff. And I'm going to angle this corner. Okay. And then let's keep going. It doesn't really matter how accurate you get, just as long as you don't cut your stitches, because this is all going to be hidden. So I'm going to cut to that stitch, and then I'm going to angle out. Okay. Now, the only thing you really need excess of down here is the liner, which is my polka dots right here. You can see the holes right here. You're going to need some extra liner. You don't need all this other fabric, so I'm going to cut that down, just to keep it from being so bulky. Okay, but you still have everything else. So here's your hole. You're going to go ahead and flip through your hole right now. So I'm going to just gently try get the corners out without pulling too hard, because this is woven fabric and the liner tears pretty easy. So I'm just going to kind of easily pull it through a little bit at a time. Now I'm going to flip it somewhat, but I'm not going to do it really clean because we have to flip it again. So it's not going to stay this direction because this is liner side out right now. But I'm going to flip it enough that I can make my bottom kind of okay, because we're going to close this hole right now. Okay, so I kind of have it somewhat flipped. Okay. Now you can see you have this hole still, and this is your inside liner. I'm going to grab a couple clips real quick. Sorry, I didn't have my clips over here. I use these Wonder clips. They're just little clips I got off Amazon, and they help me. So the reason I leave excess fabric down here, you don't really need this much. It might add some extra bulk, so I'll cut it a little bit. This is thin fabric, so I'm not that worried about it. But you want to flip this fabric inside, and you want to flip this fabric inside, and you kind of want to sandwich it along your stitches right here. So I just kind of go like this, and I kind of get it how I want it. Okay. Now keep in mind this, and I'm going to just cut a couple of these strings so they're out of the way. This is going to be at the inside bottom of your bag. This is the inside liner, and it's the bottom of the liner. So you're not really going to see this that much, but I'm going to close it with fabric tack glue. It's clear. It dries really, really quickly, like within 3 to 5 minutes. I usually wait around 3 minutes and then I turn it. It's really easy to do. You're also welcome to do a ladder stitch if you're really good at ladder stitching, but I am not. I don't claim to be good at that at all. Some people take their sewing machine and just stitch right here, but then you're going to kind of have a ridge down here, which I don't like, so I don't do that either, but you're more than welcome to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and take this clip off and kind of open it up. And then it's going to take a second for this glue to come down. It's one of those glues that takes a few seconds to come down. Okay, sorry. Almost there. Okay, here it comes. Okay, so I'm just going to put some glue from the corner all the way over, just along the edge. And then I'm going to just use my hands, and I'm going to sandwich together. If too much glue got put in there and it starts like oozing out, like there's a little bit right there, I just take my finger and I wipe it. It's not a big deal at all. And then I go ahead and put the clip on to hold it together and to get it all glued. And then I open the next part. I'm going to wipe off that glue. And I'm going to go ahead and my glue oozes a little bit, so I'm going to wipe that off so it's not like a big clump at the top. Okay. Okay, I'm going to take my glue and I'm going to get that next part of the hole, and I'm going to get it in there. I'm just going to get some on the edge, pull out, I'm going to glue it, sandwich it together. Okay, I'm going to clip it. My hands are kind of sticky now. Okay, I'm going to take the last clamp off, and I'm going to open this last little part. There's just a little hole there still. I'm going to wipe off this goop again. It just keeps gooping up. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and put it in that little hole right there. Okay. And I'm just going to sandwich together, get any excess off that you may have, and I'm going to clamp it. Okay, So you can see I glued and clamped that whole side. Okay, I'm gonna let that sit for about 3 minutes and I'll come back and we will flip our bag. Sorry. Okay, I think it's dried enough. I'm gonna take these clamps off. Now we are gonna flip through the zipper. You can see the bottom's fine, it's all closed. It doesn't leave big hard spots. It looks perfect, it's completely closed. Now we're gonna open through the zipper right here. So I'm gonna just pull this. There's your zipper. Now you have all the stabilizer in here, so you need to clean up and pull the stabilizer off. Oh good, I do have tweezers over here. I like to use tweezers, it makes it a little easier to get in here. Okay. Now you're going to have also the string here. This was a placement stitch for your zipper. You just pull that. You're not breaking your bag. You want to pull that and get it out of there. So you're just going to want to clean all this stabilizer out of here. Sorry, it takes a second. I have most of it. Let me get this little part right here. Okay. Okay, I'm going to call it good. Okay, now you're going to flip again through your zipper because this is your liner. So you want to flip again. We're flipping through our zipper and I just pull it all through. This is why we didn't have to get it really clean and flipped really great to begin with, because you are going to flip it again. Okay. Now I'm just going to work the edges to try to get the corners all the way out. And I'm just using my fingers. I'm going to get my dowel real quick. You can use a chopstick. This was a turning system for sewing and it has a pointy edge and kind of a blunt edge. You can use this to get your corners out as well. Don't press too hard because you don't want to go through your stitches and your fabrics, but it does help get the corners a little cleaner. There we go. Sorry, I have a mess here. Okay. We are almost done. Use this other side, see if I can get this a little better. Okay, you just got to work it a little bit and get all your corners. I'm gonna push it flat, close my zipper. And usually what I do is I put a piece of fabric over this and I iron it to get it really crisp and flat. Some people starch it too, but you can see you have your clip here that it can clip onto a bag, and then here's what the front looks like. It looks really super cute. Here's what the back looks like. You can open your zipper and now you have a full liner, polka dot liner. So you see no seams at all through it. This is the bottom. Where are we? This is the bottom where we glued. You can't see, it doesn't open, it's perfect. And you don't see the design stitches that we put here. If you didn't line this, you would see all the back stitches of that Miss Erin right here. So this is really clean, really nice and professional looking, and it's a super awesome gift. I almost always gift these to people, and a lot of times, like for teachers, this is for a teacher. I'm gonna give her this for Christmas. I figured I might as well do it now, and or get it done now, because I have a couple more to do. But I normally put like a Starbucks card and like a food, like a Jimmy John's card in here for them, and then I give them the cute little bag too. So thank you for watching. I know this is one of the simpler bags, but this is probably the most made bag. So I wanted to make sure people could see it from start to finish and then adding a name. So that's what this is. This is what it looks like, and I hope you enjoy. Please like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in the next video.